all know what a surprise trade is. You pick a random Pokemon, launch it into space, and hope you receive something amazing back for it in return. Except most of the time you receive absolute trash. For me, the reputation of surprise trades has gone seriously downhill in recent years, full of unwanted babies and hacked Pokemon left, right and centre. But the concept of surprise trades is still so exciting, and I wanted to prove that there's still some fun to be had with it. So I created a brand new Hardcore Nuzlocke challenge in Pokemon Violet, focused all on the world of surprise trades. I began by creating the most beautiful protagonist you've ever seen, and performed the obligatory Champion Leon spin before marching downstairs to pick my first Pokemon. And you know what? Quaxly doesn't get enough love, so I look forward to raising this self-obsessed little blue child with love and care. Psych!
Oh damn.
This isn't a regular Nuzlocke, it's a new surprise trade Nuzlocke! So we threw that duck straight in the ether, and wouldn't you know, we got a good little croc boy in return. Coco supremacy rise up! Okay, so before I get a little too carried away, perhaps I should fill you in on the rules. This challenge will have the same usual hardcore Nuzlocke rules you see before you, but to add that spicy twist, my team for each gym leader will consist solely of brand new surprise traded Pokemon. That's right, I must trade away my entire team using surprise trades for a completely new team after beating each and every gym leader. If I'm able to beat this challenge by defeating Geeta then, I will have used a total of 54 different species of Pokemon during this run. This turned out to be probably the most challenging Nuzlocke I've ever attempted. But back to the trades, what a start we had! And Fuecoco wasn't the only good Pokemon we got, just look at this team I received! If I kept getting mons like this, the Nuzlocke was going to be a piece of cake. We whizzed past Nemona, pummeled Team Star, mashed through the school intro, and before you know it, Fuecoco hit the field to sweep aside Katie and win our first gym badge. What was I thinking? Surprise trades are amazing! This wasn't going to be hard at all, right guys? Guys? Although it may appear like a great start at first glance, let me explain why this was actually one of the worst starts I could have ever had. Sure, this team made Katie easy, but that's exactly how she should have been. She's the first gym leader in the game. It was going to be easy no matter what team I had, and that's when you begin to realise how bad a start this was. Because of the rules, I now had to trade away for a brand new team. These Pokemon were done, I couldn't use them ever again. So in the first batch of surprise trades, it was now dawning on me that I just wasted away 6 amazing potential Pokemon that could have been of so much more use to me in the future game. But now, well, if I got them again, which I did, I'd have to trade them straight back out there. So really I wanted to receive bad Pokemon for Katie, not the power we just lucked into. How badly would this affect my team in the future? With that on my mind, I boxed my use-up team members, caught some Lechonk, named them itsPoachie YT for a shameless plug, and began spreading love to the world of surprise trades once more. Because who wouldn't love to receive this lovable little pork chop? Trades 7 through to 12 brought us an Igglybuff, Pawmi, Sprigatito, Deerling and a Tadblub, but none of them lived up to the final trade, who became my first love of the Nuzlocke. In Schnepk, we had lucked out into an ice type just in time to carry us through the grass type gym. And what a nickname he had! Well, actually it turns out Schnepk is just German for snoring, but damn is it fun to say. So we traversed the canyons of East Paldea until we made it to Artisan, training our extremely underleveled team on the way as we prepped for a battle against— Oh my god, Schnepk, no! Not Schnepk! Oh, why did I do that? Yeah. That was unfortunate. And of course I lost the very first Pokemon I developed any sort of immediate connection with. So now I was starting to put myself in a corner. And with Schnepk gone, I wasn't sure how I was going to beat Brazius and his potential run killer, the Trailblaze spamming Sudowoodo. I pondered this while rounding up Sunflora, desperately trying not to let them crash my game, until I decided the best way I could combat Brazius was with a grass type of my own. Sprigatito evolved into Florigato just before the first gym, and in him I felt we had a starter who was more than capable of just sweeping thanks to Home Claws. The problem I didn't see coming was its amazing hidden ability, Protean, backfiring on me. This ability changes Florigato's typing to the last move it uses. So as I set up Home Claws, that turned Florigato into a Dark type. But do you know what that also meant? It meant that Sleep Powder could now hit us, because we were no longer a Grass type Pokemon. Go figure. Waking up at such low health, I had no option but to just start spamming Bite and hope our +2 attack was enough to see us through. It was too much for Petlil and Smoliv to handle as we got very lucky with some flinches, but then my nightmare began to turn into reality, as Sudowoodo survived a critical hit of all things and finishes off with, you guessed it, Trailblaze. Sudowoodo was setting up on us, and now able to outspeed everything on my squad. I couldn't see my win condition. That was until I finally paid attention to my team. This seemingly unassuming Deerling completely walled Sudowoodo thanks to its ability Sap Sipper. If Sudowoodo hit me with a grass type move like, oh I don't know, Trailblaze, then Deerling will completely negate that attack, use it to raise its own attack in the process, and this should have been my win con from the very start. How didn't I spot that? Never did I think Deerling would be the MVP of this team, but thanks to this little guy, after 2 headbutts, we now stood here with our second gym badge. So after dealing with that little scare, we were already 2 badges in. Things were going great. But in Pokemon Violet, the third gym is usually where people begin to get unstuck. Iono's electric gym is a completely different beast. I mean, to give the third gym leader a Pokemon that has no weaknesses at all, that's unheard of. So we prayed for a ground type to at least give us some electric immunity, and oh how Arceus answered us. Clodsire was surely our savior here. I couldn't have asked for a more perfect Pokemon to take on Iono. It had a clearly fumbled nickname of Rooper 1, but I don't know, it kinda suits his derpy little face, doesn't it? And as we continue trading, oh yeah, wait a minute, Clodsire wasn't the only thing we were blessed with here. Oh my god, it's a shiny! No, wait, that's a illegal shiny, isn't it? Sent over. I don't know about that. Clearly this was a hacked one though, and completely illegal in more ways than one. So, please don't tell Pokemon that I stole its Master Ball. Anyway, I was debating whether I should just release it, but in the end decided to retrade it away to the lucky Yector, so they could do whatever they saw fit. Unfortunately, I couldn't use the level 75 Frostmoth she sent across in return, but we eventually finished trades 13 to 18 with a Smoliv, Ghastly, Wiglet, Delibird, and a Hoppip named Lettuce, before making our way to Levincia. On the ride over, we hit the physical roadblock of Mella's Team Star base, but we didn't care about that, because Penny and Arven's stories have no relevance to our challenge whatsoever. So I used this shortcut to completely ignore it and began our grinding session.
Nice.
Unfortunately, that did not go to plan. I was so petrified of Iono's team that I completely forgot about the gym trainers and the rival battle I'd have to face before I got to her, and that pushed me way too close to the level cap. Thankfully I stopped before it was too late, but that rookie error meant that I had to go into Nemona's rival battle with just 3 Pokemon to avoid breaking the level cap. At least one of these Pokemon was Wooper 1 though, so I had faith he could carry me through the battle on his own. We dealt with Nemona's double teaming Rockruff nice and easy, with Wooper 1 remaining unfazed with those laser sharp, focused eyes. Then Pawmi came out, who should have been the easiest Pokemon to beat of the lot, but instead turned into the devil in disguise, and thanks to a series of very unfortunate events, became the most difficult Pokemon I had faced in the entire Nuzlocke. Our Quick Claw popped to let Wooper 1 immediately outspeed with Mudshot, reducing Pawmi to below half health and also lowering its speed. However, unknown to me at the time, that speed drop caused the speed tie between Wooper 1 and Pawmi, and from there the game found a way to absolutely fist me with an unbeatable strategy. As Pawmi knew Dig, I found myself in a situation where I was outspeeding when Pawmi was below ground and I couldn't touch it, but then being outsped when I had the chance to land a hit. I couldn't touch the little rat. Therefore, to save Wooper 1, I had no choice but to switch into Lettuce, avoid an incoming Dig, and outspeed to kill with Bullet Seed. But my god, that exchange messed me up as Nemona sent in Crocodile. I assumed this would be the end of the road for Lettuce, so I set up a Leech Seed, but Crocodile instead went for a Yawn, giving Lettuce another chance at life. We switched into Wiglet, survived an Incinerate on 1 HP, and dealt very little damage with Water Pulse before losing our first Pokemon of the battle. So back into Wooper 1 we went, going for a Mudshot, but it didn't do enough damage and we got yawned. And it was at this point that I made an unforgivable misplay. I didn't notice that Mudshot lowered Crocodile's speed, which would have allowed Wooper 1 to outspeed this turn and win the match there and then. But ironically, after all of that commotion against Pawmi, I didn't see it and assumed we'd just get outsped. So I went for a Yawn instead, allowing Crocodile to Incinerate one more time, and thanks to Crocodile's Blaze ability activating, it strengthened Incinerate enough to knock out the most important Pokemon of my squad. Wooper 1 was no more, and I was now in serious trouble for Iono. Lettuce could come in and finish the job now with Bullet Seed, but at what cost? Nemona just waltzed in here, killed off my best Pokemon, and left. Wooper 1 was my one counter to Iono, and the door was now left wide open for her to come in and end my Nuzlocke. Thankfully, we managed to stay under the level cap against Iono's Twitch Simps by spamming healing moves using a combination of Mega Drain, Leech Seed, and Synthesis. So we made it to the gym battle with still a team of 4. Kaidozo the Delibird kicked things off by one-shotting Watcher with an Ice Punch, but as a flying type himself, quickly fell to Bellibolt Spark. However, this let us safely switch into Haunter, where my only real strategy was to try and land a 60% accurate Hypnosis. But we hit those, and that let us remove a big threat from the field with 2 Hexes. For Iono's Luxio, well, it worked once, so I tried Hypnosis again, but that was a mistake. We missed 3 times in a row and lost another Pokemon. That's a reminder not to gamble, kids. Lettuce was able to follow up, and by using our old faithful Leech Seed and Synthesis stalling tactics, we knocked out the Luxio after a tense 3 minutes to leave us with a 2-on-1 against Iono's Ace, the Pokemon with no weakness. My only hope was to survive a hit, Leech Seed again, and just try to stall Miss Magius out. But Leech Seed was all that Lettuce could manage after falling to Hex turn 1, and so it was down to our very last Pokemon in Dolive to become a heal stalling machine and rescue this Nuzlocke. After setting up grassy terrain, 2 Mega Drains and a lot of Leech Seed action was enough to save my bacon, as Miss Magius fell to residual Leech Seed damage at the very last moment. Somehow we had scraped through. My team of misfits had risen up to rectify my unforgivable misplay in losing Reaper 1, and we lived to fight another day. Understandably, at this point, I couldn't wait to put that gym behind me and forget it ever happened. So we honoured our fallen warriors and immediately launched Morlatronk out into the world. We started off receiving a Sudowoodo who was ingeniously named Tree, but unfortunately also just over our new level cap of 30. So instead we settled for a Seagull, a Dung Beetle and some Sushi. We then got ourselves a Pokemon I was very excited to use in the Dunsparce, who initially I thought was another illegal mon because it had evolved at level 5. But after doing some research, apparently it's perfectly legal as it evolves when it learns Hyper Drill, which you can breed onto a level 1 Dunsparce. So we kept it. Weasel and Charcadet rounded out the squad, and we began preparations for the 4th gym leader, Kofu. This was actually a really strong team, so during grinding, I took the time to demolish the Titan Pokemon Cloth. Like, seriously, Tatsugiri blew it away. And that let us finally upgrade my bike's speed so I wasn't dawdling about everywhere anymore. And of course I learned from my grinding mistakes of times gone by, oh no, Wingull? Wingull, you lost to a Deerling? Wait, no, this can't be happening. Wait, Charcadet? Run or two? Are you serious? Poachie, what are you doing? Haha, well, yeah, I kept under the level cap, but I did lose 3 Pokemon in grinding. Somehow. Just don't ask, okay? At least we kept our most powerful team members alive this time round, and I was ready for Kofu even with a team of 3. Floatzel was easily able to dispatch Veluza with a crunch, but then my amazing luck continued. I got flinched by a headbutt spamming Rock Trio not once, not twice to lose Floatzel, but 3 times in a row by this abomination of a Pokemon. Do you know the odds of that happening? It's 2.7%! That wormy little Anyway, we finally managed to kill it off with the Dunsparce's Hyper Drill, but the damage from Rock Trio meant we immediately fell to Kofu's Ace Crabominable. And just like that, yet again, we were left with a one-on-one to beat a gym leader. This time though, it was far less frightening thanks to Tatsugiri's Storm Drain. This stopped Crabominable using any sort of stab, and with it only having physical moves, I could safely use Counter, probably for the first time in my life, to bring it to the brink of death before snatching another double away with a Water Pulse. We were halfway there with gym badge number 4, and I mean, at least we handled that better than Iono, right? Oh man, seriously, how am I not dead yet? But with that, we'd fluked our way into the final half of the Nuzlocke. We'd been playing with fire up till now, but next up was Larry. And this time, we were blessed with some truly amazing surprise trades. We got a Cyndaquil, an event Hisuian Zorua, and somehow, in just one set of trades, Pokemon's holy trinity of moneymakers in Pikachu, Eevee, and Charizard. Surely with so much power, I couldn't mess things up this time. Cue the training montage. No! Damn it! Not again! So you can now add Quilava to the list of Pokemon that died unnecessarily during a grinding session. But hey, at least I only lost 1 Pokemon this time, and I felt we had this gym covered. We could skip the gym challenge because, well, we already knew the answers, so straight in the battle we went. I tried to combat Larry's Yawn using Kamali using Eve's Synchronize ability, but that didn't work because, fun fact, Synchronize doesn't activate against sleep. I mean, it says it right there. Why can't I read? So then I hit the big red button and flamethrowed Kamala to death with Charizard instead. For the Dunsparce, Hisuian Zoroark came in clutch. Disguised as an Avocario, we tricked Larry into trying normal type moves 3 times in a row, the fool. And by the time he figured out our disguise, it was too late and the Dunsparce was done for. Haha! Get it? That only left his Ace Staraptor to deal with. Well, I say only, but in fact it kind of wrecked me. Because of Staraptor's crazy speed and attack stats, it simply wiped the floor with Zoroark, Orocorio, and Raichu. Just like that, I'd gone from a comfortable position of 5 Pokemon to almost losing once again in a one-on-one. When are you gonna learn, Poachie? But Charizard's well-rounded starter Pokemon stats proved too much in the end as we saw off Larry with 1 final Flamethrower. And look, I may not be setting a great example of how to beat this challenge, but we were still finding a way through. Well, that was until a slight oversight of the Nuzlocke was about to throw my integrity right up in the air for you all to shoot at like some sort of clay pigeon. So let's go over the most important rule of this Nuzlocke, shall we? After we beat every gym, we must immediately trade away our team for a new set of surprise trades. The gym leader is always the last battle we're allowed to use that team for. However, I didn't account for the bloodthirsty, battle-hungry Nemona sprinting up to me after the gym and literally not letting me move before dragging me into another battle. Sure, she heals up your team before trying to murder you, but I couldn't just go and use Eve again after she was already canonically dead, now could I? That would technically be breaking the laws of the Nuzlocke. So to try and keep within the rules, I decided to throw this battle and just rematch her with my new team surprise trades afterwards. And then she killed my team and ran away. Why do you keep ruining my Nuzlocke, Nemona? As it turns out, this is just a one-off battle. Win or lose, it doesn't matter, you can only face it once. So at this point, I didn't really know what to do. Thanks to Nemona, I'm kind of just sat here like a sitting duck now, waiting to be shot at by you all in the comments. So I'm just going to say, hey, let's just call this a mulligan and pretend like it never happened. And I'll just trust all you lovely people to go easy on me in the comment section. Like that's never gonna happen. But really, you guys should be thanking me for making that decision, because if it didn't, then you wouldn't have got to see my pain of what was about to happen next. Oh my god, I've just found a shiny Lechonk. Are you kidding me? This is not fair! How did I know this would happen? I don't even have a shiny Lechonk in my own game! Yes, I've already mentioned this before, and yes, I have to trade him away now in a Wonder Trade. No, I'm not happy about it. Oh my god! No! No, I don't know the odds of that happening right there and then in just 6 encounters and straight after this mulligan of all times, but it did. So yeah, I had to trade it away, and congrats to Marku, who won themselves the trade of the decade by offering a dealing, which I couldn't even use, for one of the best shinies in the game. No, I'm definitely not salty about that at all. Anyhow, eventually what we got in return was a level 42 Toxicroak. So you know what? I'll take it. As we headed into Rhyme's ghost type gym, we also got a bunch of normal types. So this was either going to work absolutely great for us or go terribly. Given my luck up until now, I was betting on the latter. We did start off on the right foot though and grinded our way to arrive at Monterey Gym with a full team of 6. Can you believe it? I sure couldn't. And I didn't even over level before the gym trainers either, whose double battles went swimmingly. We passed each trainer flawlessly just using Gradient and Oink alone, including Moist Critical's exploding Drift Blim. Are you guys proud of me? Come on, you can say it, I won't tell. For Rhyme, I slightly switched my lead Pokemon up by replacing Gradient with Ursaring as I looked to go on the offensive. And you know what? I was wrong, these normal types worked perfectly. We absolutely aced this gym. Unfortunately, Toxicity was one too many opponents for Oink alone as it fell to a discharge. But with each mon I had learning a Dark type move and having no stab Ghost type moves to worry about in return, we very quickly earned our 6th gym badge. And it felt good to avoid the drama for once. In trades 37 to 42, no shiny Lechonk showed their faces this time, but in return, we got something even better. Rito 56 is sending me an Oshawott! Oshawott! My boy returns! Look at him! The God Killer himself. But unfortunately, considering how many Pokemon we'd lost so far, I couldn't carry on the legacy of Legends Arceus, and this time around I had no option but to evolve him, as much as that pained me. The rest of our trades were also pretty well suited for taking on the next Psychic Gym. But guess what? Are you ready for this? Oh, I don't think you are, because it was time for another Poachie special as I messed everything up yet again during grinding. Oh god, I'm sorry guys. I really was trying here, I swear. To evolve Sinistea, I had to find a cracked pot located on the far side of Casseroya Lake. But on the way, I accidentally ran into this Krogunk, who I couldn't run away from as I suffered another embarrassing grinding loss of Hariyama this time. So I effectively traded the life of Hariyama in order to evolve Sinistea into a Poltergeist. And was that really worth it? I wasn't sure. But that's not all. For the second time in this playthrough, during grinding, I completely forgot that I had gym trainers to battle. And yet another battle against Nemona as well. Honestly, you'd think I'd learned from my mistakes, but no, I had leveled everyone up right to the level cap and repeated my errors from Iono all over again. How do I keep doing this? So, Nemona. Somehow with just a Poltergeist and a Dreadnought, I was meant to stop the bane of my Nuzlocke so far. Dreadnought was able to KO both Lycanroc and Cormot thanks to yet another well-timed counter on my part, but unfortunately after being paralysed, his speed increases from negated, which allowed Sliggoo to put an end to his gutsy effort. But thanks to our nasty block using Poltergeist, yes, I was able to drag us kicking and screaming through the battle, finishing off Sliggoo and Skeledirge with a Shadow Ball. Yes! Come on! She's tried to end my Nuzlocke twice now, but she's failed at the second attempt. Now leave me alone! And trust me, I'm making that sound way easier than it was, but I need to summarize this quickly because there was a lot worse to come this time. For the gym challenge, I had to box Poltergeist now before it would definitely go over the level cap. So to get through the gym trainers, I was left with Lycanroc, Samurott, and Azorock. I was hoping I could stop these guys over-leveling by sharing around the experience from the next gym battles, but that was naive because these trainers gave off way too many experience points. Aside from Lycanroc, who ended up dying to a high jump kick from a Medicam, all of them went over the level cap. So you know what that means? Yeah. For the 7th gym leader, I now had to try and sweep it with just a single teapot. By now, I felt like I'd made one too many misplays. I was sure of it. My mistakes were about to be severely punished. But I at least had to try and put up a fight, so I maximised the potential of Poltergeist in every way possible. I changed it to a modest nature to raise its special attack, taught it the best moveset I could, and just prayed for a combination of weak armor and nasty plot to carry me through the battle. This would be my most difficult Nuzlocke test to date. We started off doing the only thing we could, setting up nasty plot before getting one big hit from a crunch from Faragiraf. Using Giga Drain would then let me survive one more hit though, so I chose that option to recover some health, and then, well, actually, then we were blessed. Instead of attacking, Faragiraf went for Reflect, which not only had zero impact on us because Poltergeist's just a special attacker, but most importantly, that gave us a free turn to set up a second nasty plot. Thanks to the earlier Giga Drain, we were also now able to survive a second crunch, and the exchange left us at +4 special attack and +4 speed. I don't know about you, but that sounds like sweeping territory. As Giga Drain finished off the Faragiraf, in came Esparta. Boom! Get Shadowballed. In came Gardevoir. Double boom! Get Shadowballed as well. And as for final Pokemon Florges, yes please terrestrialize into a Psychic type, and triple boom, take this L Tulip.
Yes!
I couldn't believe it. From disaster to ecstasy, our plucky little monster of a teapot just soloed the 7th gym leader all on its own. I genuinely thought this run was over, and yet here we were about to receive our penultimate round of trades. Could I really still win this? Would I seriously go unpunished after making misplay after misplay? I mean, yeah, it certainly felt that way, because for trades 43 to 48, Arceus quite literally graced me with the most busted team I have ever seen. We had Lucario, Annihilate, a bloomin' Tinkaton dropped into the palm of our hands, and all in perfect timing for the Ice-type gym leader at that. This squad was a pleasure to use, and oh my did I enjoy this final gym battle. I didn't even level everyone up to the level cap, and still Grusha never stood a chance. We played things safe to start, with Marini Toxic Soaring the Frostmoth and trading blows with Beartic until they both delivered a decisive blow to each other. But to be honest, that was overkill, and I didn't even need to lose their Pokemon at all. This was evident as Tinkaton hit the field and absolutely crushed the remaining Titan and Altaria with ease. I mean, what do you expect from a Pokemon with that attack stat and a base 160 base power stab move? It's just so broken! And before you know it, we claimed our 8th and final gym badge in no time at all. The path has been full of some crazy twists and turns and, deaths and misplays, but that could all now be forgotten as we hit the home straight of the Pokemon League. God, I didn't want to let my previous squad go this time. I was begging to keep them. But alas, that's the way of the surprise trade Nuzlocke, and I just had to hope that our final surprise trades, squad members number 49 to 54, could bless us with as much power as those just boxed. We started with Mabastiff, which is, it's okay, dark types can work. And then we got a Vivillon who has, Quiver Darts? I guess? Clorf! Oh, this is just not the one, but we can still rescue this. Oh, Slowpoke! Yes, that's cool. I can make that work. He's a bit of a tank. Okay, who's up next? Oh my god, is that a f***ing sun gun? You've got to be kidding me! With our final Pokemon being a Kilowatt Troll, we had been given the most distinctly below average Pokemon left available to us. Like, I don't even think I could have picked a worse team if I tried. And it was for the 5 most difficult battles of the game as well. Sure, some of you may say I'm getting my just desserts, and given my performance that I was even lucky to get this far. But if I could rescue a win using this team, I would have deserved it. But it sure wouldn't be an easy task. And so during training, you're about to see just how much of a Pokemon nerd I became trying to win this Nuzlocke. I sold all of my healing items, Pokeballs, even all of my Pokemon materials and berries, just so I could afford to buy some 20 grand a pop bottle caps. But what do bottle caps do? Well, if you go to Montevera and give them to this shady guy stood next to a fat tree, he will hyper-train your Pokemon stats to unleash their full potential. I also used up my remaining vitamins, feathers, nature mints, anything I could to squeeze out as many stat improvements as possible, which turned Slowbro stats from this into this, Kilowatt Troll from this into this, and Sunflora from this into this. These still very much shitty stats, but they were still slightly better than they were before, okay? And with that, I'd crafted a team that could maybe, just maybe, stand a chance of, beating the first Elite Four member? I mean, look at this team. Can we honestly expect much more than that? So, after resisting the urge to end my Nuzlocke in the league interview by saying I hate Pokemon, don't say no, don't say no, don't say no, don't say no, I locked myself into the first battle against Rika. there was no turning back now. And what better way could we set the tone than by leading with Subflora herself? That's right, my team members now had subscribed puns as nicknames. I mean, actually only 2 of them did, because apparently you're not allowed to nickname foreign Pokemon. But hey, if you made it this far, then why not show some support to Subflora and Subbro by, subscribing? Anyway, Subflora got us off to the perfect start by crushing Whiscash with a 4 times effective Giga Drain. Obviously we couldn't stay in against the Canerupt, so in came what turned out to be our most important chess piece in this entire playthrough, Subbro. But oh man, when I tell you the Pokemon League started off as an uphill battle, that's a massive understatement. It took 8 minutes to deal with the Canerupt after another terrible slice of luck in an important battle. We traded yawns over and over again, but every time came off worse as Canerupt woke up early and hit us with a nasty Earth Power. So much so that I ran out of slack-offs just trying to heal her up. Yeah, the bro is a she. At this point I had no choice but to surf Canerupt to death and go into the rest of the battle with less HP than I really wanted.
Canerupt's still asleep. I'm still asleep. Canerupt's still asleep. I'm still asleep. Canerupt's still asleep. Come on, now's the chance. Come on, Subbro.
No! Wake up, you idiot! No! How is he woken up first again?
I've got to wake up. Okay, right. I've just got to hope and pray now. I've just got to keep surfing. That takes it out.
Oh, that's so bad! Luckily for us, the following Dog Trio set up a Sandstorm instead of attacking, which meant nothing to us and turned out to be its death wish. Before Donphan stopped our momentum with a sturdy and hit us with a dangerous Earthquake. But we had a plan to play around that too, and in the most unlikeliest of forms. We predicted the follow-up Earthquake, switched into Vivillon to dodge, and finished it off with a Bug Buzz. Now all that remained was Rika's Ace Clodsire, where you'd think I'd switch out again. But no, we had Compound Eyes Vivillon. And with its boosted accuracy, we landed a Sleep Powder, set up with Quiver Dances, and before the Clodsire could even open its little beady eyes, we had just beaten our first Elite Four member. Yes! Come on! 1 down! What a start! But Rika wasn't the opponent I was most worried about coming into this. It was Poppy. Her team of frighteningly strong Steel types, for which I had no super effective moves for, was the reason I thought that beating 1 Elite Four member might be as much as I could manage. Especially with her ace being a Tinkaton. I mean, we saw what that thing can do against Grusha. Now how the hell was I going to take one on? Well, while looking through my TMs, I found out I actually did have a super effective move, as Subbro could learn Flamethrower, and from there, a plan was born. Call me crazy, but with the most unorthodox looking Slowbro you've ever seen, I thought I now had a shot here. First things first though, I had to get rid of the one Pokemon on Poppy's team who could stop it. So I led with Voltrion, took advantage of its high speed and special attack to remove the surprisingly fragile Copperaja, and lo and behold, there it was, Magnezone. Magnezone does have the ability Sturdy, but that meant nothing to me as I was able to break it with a Volt Switch, bait a move for Clorf to easily eat, and kick it in the face with a high horsepower. Boom! Yes, Clorf! The threat was gone, and Poppy had no idea that she had already lost. As Bronzong came in, I was able to freely switch into Subpro and use Iron Defense to maximize my defense stat to +6, because that's where Poppy's weakness lies. Magnezone is the only Pokemon on her team that has special attacking moves, so now her physical threats meant absolutely nothing to my new Iron Wall, letting us burn every single one of them to the ground. You thought I was crazy, but look at me now. Not even a base 320 base power Gigaton hammer from a Tinkaton could scratch us. And with that, I had already achieved more than I thought could be possible with this team. But not only that, we had done it without a single death. Yeah, bet you didn't see that coming, did you? But were things going a little too smoothly all of a sudden? Was I beginning to get, dare I say, cocky here? Well, if any man could reveal that to me, it would be the straight-talking, omniscient Larry. We had another great start, as Voltrion one-shotted Tropius with a Hurricane before Volt switching out on the following Altaria to avoid an Ice Beam. However, our good luck re-emerged in this battle, as Larry got an immediate 10% chance freeze on Subpro. No! That was the one thing I was scared of! Oh no! Thankfully, after 2 concerning turns, taking Dragon Pulse damage, we managed to thaw out, slack off to recover the health we just lost, before eventually finishing Altaria with a 4 times effective Ice move of our own. Furthermore, Larry's scary Staraptor, who has already killed 4 Pokemon this Nuzlocke, couldn't touch our new Iron Wall, as we again set up to +6 defense against it to Icy Wind and take yet another name for Subro's kill count. Could anything stop her? Maybe. Larry's penultimate Pokemon was Oricorio, and being a special attacker, those Iron defenses did not help me, as a Revelation Dance made it obvious that now I needed to switch, especially after missing Icy Wind.
You're joking.
So I had to switch into Voltrion and negate the incoming Revelation Dance with a Volt Absorb. Our Discharge was still effective, dealing half health, but annoyingly we were then confused by Tita Dance. And here, well, it's got some competition, but this was the worst play of my Nuzlocke. For some reason, my brain thought I had to play around the confusion and protect Voltron for Larry's Ace Flamigo. And who did I think was the Pokemon to risk a switch in on? Subro. I mean, Larry's already seen that Revelation Dance doesn't affect me, right? So why would he use it again against Voltron? Well, because evidently, the computer has a bigger brain than I.
Revelation Dance. What the hell, game?
I can't lie, I was extremely salty about that one. Oricorio was finished off by another discharge, and the incoming Flamigo dealt with just as easily. But looking back at the all-important switch, why did I take that risk? I knew Oricorio had Icy Wind, but that wouldn't have knocked out Voltron, and I could have just easily switched into a full health Mabastiff instead. Anyone other than Subro. Just why did I feel the need to make that read? But now I have to live with my mistakes, and with the loss of the most important Pokemon on my squad, I had to find a way through the strongest Elite Four member of them all, Hassel. His Dragon types were, now more than ever, a serious threat. Not only had I lost my most defensive Pokemon, but I'd also lost a crucial Ice-type move for this battle. I already knew this one would be rough, but we tried to strategize as best we could and stepped into the Dragon's Den. Now Vivillon might sound like an odd choice for leading against Noivern, but hear me out. If I'm honest, I was just praying for a misplay here, hoping Noivern would set up a Tailwind or something to allow me to Quiver Dance and start sweeping. But no, it immediately air slashed, so that plan went straight out the window. But I still had a trick up my sleeve. That's right, our tried and tested Compound Ice Sleep Powder. This let me set up a second Quiver Dance, and the following turn a third Quiver. Oh. Well, yeah, a turn 1 Wake Up would stop me, huh? Why can't I catch a break? The only real plan from here was, actually I didn't have one. All I could do was start trading wild haymakers with Hassel and hope to come out on top. But thanks to Degrino's 4 times effective Ice Fang, we got rid of Noivern quickly. As for the incoming Dragouge, again nothing I had really seemed like a good counter. So we threw caution to the wind and just started outraging. As it turns out though, that was the correct decision, as not only did we one-shot Dragouge, but we also one-shot the incoming Flapple too. I honestly didn't expect that. Maybe this wasn't such an impossible task after all. Unfortunately, that second outrage left us confused. So as Haxorus came in, I switched into Claw, and if I'm honest, just kind of planned to sack him off. I needed to preserve Dogrino. I felt like using his outrage was the only way I'd win this battle. But Claw had other ideas.
That actually does no damage to me. Wow.
Not only did he eat a Dragon Claw, he also ate up a super effective Iron Head, activating Anger Shell ability to raise his speed and attack stats, and he proceeded to one-shot Haxorus with a Rock Slide. Oh, is it a quid for me? Come on, Claw! He was a fighter, and he refused to go down. Now facing Hassel's final Pokemon Baxcalibur, the very last Pokemon of the Elite Four, could Claw's raise stats really be enough to get the KO before it even had the chance to attack?
Come on, come on, come on, Claw. Come on. No, that's a crit, but it's not a flinch. No, Claw! Oh, no. Oh, he did so well. But now we're down to 3 Pokemon.
Claw had literally done everything it could for me, but in the end, he had to fall to ensure our survival. Thanks to him, against all odds, with arguably the worst team we had used to date, we had actually beaten the Elite Four. So there was just one final question now left to answer. Could we go on and beat the champion as well? With just 3 Pokemon left, and might I remind you, one of those was a Sunflora, I was up against it. But I faced worse odds than this in the Nuzlocke so far, so surely there was a timeline where I could come through victorious. The real problem here was having no setup moves available for the team to learn. Add that to the distinct lack of variety in their movesets, and my hands were tied. I mean, Subflora can literally only learn Grass-type moves. I've never seen a Pokemon with less coverage in my life. I just had to rely on my stubbornness to not be beaten by a champion who I've labelled as the worst champion to ever exist. This smug, emotionless robot. I couldn't let her actually beat me, and that would be an embarrassment. But now I had to go out there and either back my smack talk up or eat a big helping of humble pie. Esparta immediately set up Reflect, but Dogrino's Crunch was still able to two-shot it, even with that reduced damage to take first blood. Then came Go-Go. I initially thought this wasn't a threat with a super effective Ice Fang I could use, except with that Reflect up, it only did 25% damage, which was nowhere near what I was expecting. Add that to Go-Go having Play Rough, and we quickly lost the first team member of the fight. Already we were down to 2 Pokemon. At least Voltron could come in and hurricane the Go-Go away no problem. But before that I set up an electric terrain to try and prepare for the future. With that hurricane, it was 2 down and just 4 Pokemon left to go. But next was a bit of a beast. Kingambit hit the field and I have nothing for it. My only hope now is that a magnet boosted discharge in the electric terrain would be enough to pull us through. Surely with those buffs, discharge should be able to do huge damage against a physically defensive Kingambit and...
Oh my god, that doesn't even do half damage. Oh no. Oh, that's over. The game's over. How did that do so little Shut up, Peter! How did that do so little damage?
Yeah, I had badly overestimated the power of electric terrain. I really thought discharge would do some respectable damage, but from there, well, I don't think I need to spell it out for you. With only Subflora left, I tried my best to terrestrialize and live off Giga Drain, but given how slow we were, how much damage Koto Cleave did, and how little damage we could do in response, the next turn was the very last of the Nuzlocke. It felt like the champion battle had ended before it had even truly begun.
Oh, we were so close!
Looking back, the obvious mistake was losing Subro to Larry. If only I had played better, if only I protected her for the champion, then I think I would have stood a chance. But hindsight is a wonderful thing, and sometimes you just have to admit you made a mistake and try to never repeat it again. I mean, clearly I never learned that lesson during this Nuzlocke, given the countless misplays I made, resulting in a grand total of 28 deaths out of 54 Pokemon. That's 52%! But maybe it will make me a better Nuzlocker for the future. Like I said at the beginning though, my main goal today was to prove to myself and all of you watching just how fun surprise trades can still be. And yeah, I had so much fun with this Nuzlocke. But perhaps the most important message of them all to come out of this is don't take on Nemona in a Nuzlocke. She will murder you and run away in a snap.